San Francisco has been the easy butt of jokes lately, racked with homelessness due to its disastrous political obsession to command land and wages and bureaucratize people's lives beyond control. Its politicians are easy targets for jokes. But this time, no one is joking. No one is kidding. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV, and it's time to give you the lowdown and some intellectual ammunition to take with you on this. First, on Tuesday, September 3rd, as if taking cues from Orwell's Ministry of Truth, the San Francisco Board of Supervisors unanimously adopted a resolution to label the NRA a domestic terror organization.
The National Rifle Association is a domestic terrorist organization and urging other cities, states, and the federal government to do the same.
And it now goes to leftist Mayor London Breed. And here's what Alexa Lardieri reported for U.S. News. The resolution states that the U.S. is, quote, plagued by an epidemic of gun violence, end quote, with 36,000 deaths and 100,000 injuries by guns each year. The document accuses the gun rights group of using, quote, its considerable wealth and organizational strength to promote gun ownership and incite gun owners to acts of violence, end quote. And here's why the board is wrong. A, they use the scientific emergency sounding term epidemic, which is incorrect and inapplicable. The origin of the word epidemic comes from the Greek. It comes from epidemos, upon man, and it's supposed to be applied to naturally occurring maladies that are spread through communicable disease vectors, not voluntary actions taken by human beings. Regarding choice, their 36,000 gun deaths isn't broken down into homicides and suicides. And as the Centers for Disease Control state, over and over again, they find that 2/3 of gun-related deaths are suicide. The board's assertion that the NRA's promotion of personal gun ownership is tied to an increase in gun homicides is belied by reams of data and history. The FBI's uniform crime statistics show that during a time of skyrocketing gun sales in the United States, violent crime, including gun-related crime, decreased for 20 years until a small uptick from 2015 to 2017 related to underworld gang activity in urban areas like Chicago, where, of course, gun statutes clearly have stopped guns. And of course, the CDC also found and hid a study that showed that armed civilians are between 2 and 3.6 times more likely to stop crimes with guns than to commit crimes with guns. But of course, the board went on and added, the National Rifle Association spreads propaganda that misinforms and aims to deceive the public about the dangers of gun violence. The leadership of the National Rifle Association promotes extremist positions in defiance of the views of a majority of its membership and the public, and undermines the general welfare, it continues, adding that the NRA, through its advocacy, has armed those individuals who would and have committed acts of terrorism, which is not only preposterous, it's a gross insult to the principle of free speech. In fact, if any group could be accused of spreading propaganda and misinformation, I think it's clear what group that is. And the import of this cannot be overstressed. It not only highlights the overly broad definition of terrorism that can be used to stifle free speech even on a federal level, the actions of the board offer a very chilling note. By declaring the NRA a domestic terrorist organization, the resolution says that San Francisco is empowered to, quote, take every reasonable step to assess the financial and contractual relationships city vendors and contractors have with the organization, end quote. And it seems that thoughtful people could certainly read a threat to them right in there, because it implies that anyone contributing to the NRA could be termed a domestic terrorist because they are supplying comfort and aid to people whom this board says are domestic terrorists. And of course, that also has an implication for the federal terror guidelines. There's so much more wrong with what this San Francisco board has said, both on principle and factually. I want to concentrate finally on board member Catherine Stephanie, who actually implied that the Dayton, Ohio shooter got away with it without breaking any laws. First of all, he broke the laws against murder in Ohio, and second of all, he broke the Ohio statute that forbids people from attaching large capacity, however many that is, I think it's 30, magazines onto their guns unless they get federal permission or they do it outside the state and then they bring it into the state. And finally, Ms. Stephanie adds this.
When they use phrases like, "I'll give you my gun when you pry it from my cold, dead hands" on bumper stickers, they are saying reasoned debate about public safety should be met with violence. When they host national conferences or expositions in or near sites of mass gun violence, they aim to intimidate those who have already been terrorized and knowingly threaten anyone who would organize against their financial interests.
Which is completely upside down and exposes the Orwellian way aggressive gun grabbers depict the right to self-defense. The point of the line, Ms. Stephanie, a line coined by the amazing and admirable Charlton Heston,
"From my cold, dead hands,"
is that we will die defending our right to self-defense against those who, through psychopathic, sociopathic rhetoric and the use of armed agents of the state, would aggressively try to take our peaceful right away. The state will kill us, Ms. Stephanie, as we stand for the principle Mr. Heston defended and that the very people in the American Revolution defended at Lexington and Concord. Or were they domestic terrorists as well? Just a few things to consider, San Francisco Board, as you recklessly label people who are interested in only defending themselves as the aggressors and the dangerous ones, even as you, the agents of the state, want armed agents of the state to disarm people. I think we know where the threat really lies. Hey, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and visit MRCTV.org. That's MRCTV.org to see the incredible panoply of material, both written and on video and in audio, that the team at MRCTV is providing. For MRCTV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.